Hello and welcome to the Young Film Academy podcast, the essential podcast for teenagers looking to find their way into the creative industries. My name is Dan Allen, and I am joined by no one yet, actually, although Ellen is going to be discussing this episode with me at the end, so make sure you stay tuned for that. But I am going to be chatting with a fantastic cinematographer, stills photographer, and gaffer. And if you're unsure on what any or all of those things are, then you've come to the right episode. But if you know exactly what those things are, learn about the differences and how they complement each other and what life is like when you do all of these things in the film industry. And our guest is called Chiara Fulgoni, and she is going to share some of her wisdom, which is very cool. So, without any further ado, welcome to the podcast, Chiara. How's it going?
Hi, I'm good, thanks.
Excellent. Well, it's lovely to have you here. We were talking just before we recorded a bit about Met Film School and your sort of journey into film and the sort of hybrid roles that you adopt and stuff. I didn't know if you wanted to start us by telling us a little bit about that journey into there and studying there, because Met Film School, some of our students might have heard of, but obviously there's a few different schools, and they all sort of offer different things. What was your sort of experience with them?
Yeah, I mean, I knew I wanted to go into cinematography, and I was looking around for a master's course at the time because I wanted to avoid real life. You know, you stay in education. And I've been working for a very, very long time, like in between just doing, like, I worked in Gales, I worked in education.
Big fan of Gales as well.
The food was great, let me tell you.
It's too good.
Yeah.
Like, sometimes I don't go in for a coffee because I know I'll end up buying some food because everything looks amazing.
We could eat what we wanted for lunch. It was,
can you actually?
Yeah. So, yeah, I worked for a bit and then I was like, you know what, I want to go back to study. I genuinely enjoy studying a lot.
Yeah.
It's very nerdy. But I want to go into cinematography, and I don't have a clue on how to get anywhere. And I don't have the confidence to just turn up to a set and go, hey, teach me. I just didn't have the confidence to do that. So I looked around, and because I'm West London based, I'm very, very close to the Ealing campus where it is. So I was like, do you know what, I'll pop in. And I went into an open day and I met who would be my tutor, David. Yeah. His name's David Schwartz, and his energy was just so brilliant. I just got along with him immediately. And I think that honestly was it. Obviously I liked the school. I liked that they had the resources I needed. But when I met him, I was like, I want him to teach me.
It's nice when you get those sort of connections that sort of, I don't know, they take the whole experience up to the next level because it's someone that you either relate to or connect with on a certain level. And it means it's engaging, and it makes the already exciting subject matter even more, I don't know, enjoyable. I can't think what the right word is.
I don't know. I just I feel like the person who teaches you makes a massive, massive difference of how you learn. And I really liked how I like teachers who are very blunt.
Sure.
I think, and who make jokes and tell me if something I'm doing is rubbish. I'd rather you tell me and say I love you, you're great, but that was stupid. I like that personally, and it was very that because then when you move on to you go into the industry, often people are very, very blunt, but they don't mean bad. They don't mean bad things. You form a connection with someone enough that you can start to have a joke about each other, and you can kind of pick on each other, but with love. That's kind of how I operate, and I like it.
Yeah. So. No, I like that as well. I feel one of my favorite books is How to Win Friends and Influence People, which is a really great book on sort of collaboration, being a team player. I mean, it's written by a salesman, which maybe says all you need to know.
Yeah.
But it's genuinely a really fantastic read. But if I had to guess how many people in the film industry had read that book, I would say it's possibly very low. But when you find your sort of tribe and your people, I think that's when the whole experience, it reminds you why you do it, right? Because all the sort of social politics or navigation disappears because you're just with the people that communicate and talk in the same way that you do. Like, how have you found sort of like finding your tribe?
I've found it really quite easy, but it's one of those things. So it's very strange. I started off when I was really getting into photography. I started off in the cosplay community, like the nerdy Comic-Con, like taking pictures of people.
Was this Tumblr?
Yeah, it was like Tumblr era, but also like, yeah, I just went to Comic-Cons and a lot of my closest friends I met there. And hilariously, a lot of those people started to work in film, funnily enough, because we just love stuff. We love TV, we love film. So, you know, some people I know make costumes for film in the art department.
I was going to say, I would have thought almost that's where that logically leads. So why given your love for the cosplay world, why go into the capturing or the photographing side of it rather than the costume side of it?
Because I can't sew. And I hate being in front of the camera. That's it.
Oh my god, I look at cinematography as being like, you know, one of the toughest roles there is. And it's almost like you're sitting there behind the camera just being like, if only I could sew.
Honestly, me. Like, I tried making, I did make a few costumes, but they were like, they weren't bad, but they would fall apart. Like, after the day I wore them, I was like, oh, that's it, that's dead now. Whereas I have some really, really close friends who can just whip up a dress in a night. Like fully done, well made, and I'm just like, well, I'll take photos of you.
Yeah. No, that's nice. Well, then you're still involved, I guess, exactly. And you get to contribute to the artistry.
So
I mean, with your many skills that you do have, though, even if sewing isn't one of them, how do you feel they complement each other? You know, thinking about your gaffing, which for those that don't know, that's the lighting side of the film world, and then obviously photography and cinematography.
Yeah, I mean, I think they all go hand in hand. Obviously, like when we call photography, we call it stills. So it's like, because obviously when you're a director of photography, it doesn't mean you're doing stills, it means you're doing the film. So like stills and moving, the principle is almost the same, but moving, it starts to get more difficult. I'm not like, I don't want to be like, cinematography is harder than photography. Like, they all come with their challenges.
Of course,
but lighting, to me, something that I always say is that if you go on to Google images and you search cinematographer, it's just pictures of people with cameras on their shoulders. Yeah, and that kind of bothers me.
Mostly men as well.
Yeah, like, mostly men,
which is a shame. Although that's changing massively, which is great.
But it's just, it doesn't, to me personally, it doesn't represent who I am as a cinematographer. And there are different types of cinematographers. So, for example, when I'm a gaffer, when I'm working on lighting teams, I love to work with cinematographers who love their camera, because I'll have a meeting with them and they'll go, you know what? You do your thing. I want this, this, and this. Go do it. And I get to light and I get to have fun and do creative stuff. Whereas my style of cinematography is my camera team need to be on point, because I can go set up and then I'll just run off and light. It depends. Neither is wrong. But there's often this massive focus on cinematographers being the camera people. And personally, that's not me. I am a lighting person, and that's the part I enjoy the most.
Yeah, that's really interesting, because I mean, I've certainly worked with cinematographers that some of them are just more lighting minded, and are much more interested in sort of, you know, painting their shots with light, is the phrase that I've heard lots. But then I've also worked with some that just, truth be told, don't know anything about lighting, so they need a gaffer that has that creative edge, and it's sort of it's so tricky, because there is almost a grey area subject to the interest and passion of either the cinematographer or the gaffer. So it's sort of, would you say it's more about finding the one that complements you, or would you advise to like young people to try and learn both if they can, like both sides if they can? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I'll always say learn everything you can, but I very much lean on my camera team the most. I definitely am very protective over framing, but I wouldn't be opposed. Like, I love having camera operators. One, because I'm 4'11". I'm very small, so if we're doing
I can't tell on the video call. You look very tall to
I'm
me.
I'm stood
right
up
now.
right now. No, I'm kidding. No, like, so I don't mind. Like, I really, honestly, like, I kind of hate doing all that really techie buttons, and I don't mind building cameras. That's fun.
Okay. Yeah.
But having to be the one to like wipe the card and talk about like resolutions and stuff. I know it's important, but I'd much rather read the script and figure out what it looks like in my brain. So that's where I think the difference is. And I think a lot of students come in really good, like loving cameras and loving tech and saying, I want to be a cinematographer. And I'm like, wait a few years and you'll see you want to be an assistant camera, actually.
Yeah.
There's a place for everyone, right?
There is.
So I think it is important, obviously, to learn everything, because then you can be that knowledgeable person. Everyone is going to come to you with questions. Your assistant camera is going to come to you and say, you know, what aspect ratio do you want? And you have to know. But also, because filmmaking is a team effort, it's not bad to lean on people if you don't know the answer. So even though I do like lighting, I also do want a gaffer or a Sparks or whatever. I want those people so I can talk to them and say, what do you think? Is that right? Do you like that? And they'll say, yeah, maybe I'd change that. And that's the process I enjoy. So yes, learn stuff, obviously, but also don't be afraid to lean on your team, I think.
For sure. Yeah, because I mean, I think you're pointing towards, I suppose, that ACs in particular, which is, you know, when you're a cinematographer, you might also do loads of gigs as an AC as well in between your cinematography gigs, especially, during the sort of first 10, 15, 20 years even of like a cinematography career, you can end up like doing all those bits and bobs. But then the other side is sparking, which is when you're in the lighting side. So you're almost like assisting the gaffer. You're putting the lights in place rather than putting the camera in place, as it were, which both sort of have their own challenges. I mean, would you say that sparking does that require more muscle, or both are quite tricky in that way? Or what are your thoughts on that? Or can you do you not need that as much as you might think?
It depends. So like, I'm thinking back to the last sparking gig I had, and I was really, really lucky to work under a very, very like good gaffer. He's worked on like loads of Netflix stuff. Again, he was kind of like my tutor David in that, like, I really got along with how blunt he was and really funny and whatever. And yes, there is a lot of lifting. There is a lot of heavy stuff. And actually this one in particular, I was carrying, like, so there's this light called a Vortex, and it's this big kind of panel, like LED light, and it's heavy. And because we were outside, we also had to lug a battery up this mountain. And luckily, you know, we had a lot of help. We had production assistants or whatever. But yes, there was a lot of lifting. But at the same time, it was very tough because he was actually quite sick during. Oh no! So he kind of like sat. He was like, oh, I can't. I have to go back to to his van, and he sat in his van, and he just like handed me everything. I knew what, like, he did all the main parts, and I was learning so much from him. I was learning how to rig a car, which I'd never done before, safely, with lights, and he was teaching me all that. And then he handed me the controls, and he was like, you know what to do. And I was like, oh, okay. And like, so I felt that kind of trust there, and I felt very chuffed that, you know, he would be like, oh, go take that vortex over there, instead of being like, do you need help? Do you need someone to take? I love just him going, do it. And if I had a question, or if he said something that I didn't know what it was, I could ask him, and he would really appreciate that I, you know, had the guts to like not pretend. Yeah. To know what I, you know, to know.
Someone's like, someone grabbed the
shotgun,
the Felly 6. And you're like,
and I'm like, what?
Which to be very clear, I just made up Felly 6. So if anyone's listening, being like, oh my god, I thought my knowledge was superb, I was literally trying to come up with something that sounded random as hell.
No, honestly, like, I think something that I learned from that shoot a lot is like, just don't have any ego. Like, if you don't know something, that's fine. Because actually, if you don't know something and you go pick up something that you shouldn't, or touch something that you shouldn't, that could potentially actually be quite dangerous, especially in the lighting department, because there's electricity, there's heat, and there's things falling on actors if you don't do it right. So did I answer the question? I told you.
No, you did. Yeah. No, not at all. The other sort of aspect of it, which I think is interesting, which I've sort of learnt more and more meeting more cinematographers, is that everyone sort of has their own way. There's like their thing that they do, and everyone can just knows how they do their version of the job, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I was thinking, I met another cinematographer that was on the shorter side of things, but she just always carries like a case around with her, so she like stands on it whenever she needs to get higher. So it's just like knowing that, oh yeah, no, I can do that, I can do all those shots. But then I've met another cinematographer who just doesn't even touch the camera at all, and doesn't need to, and that can also be the process and the way that you do it, which I think surprises people. I think when they're younger, there's just sort of that urge to get their hands on the camera as much as possible, but as you get older, that's not the main objective of the filmmaking, is it? It's rather to sort of paint with light and stuff.
Also, I want to say, for me, being quite small, like, it's gone the other way, in which I have been handed the camera because I'm so small, so I can get into places, or like get under places, or if you want if you want a shot looking upwards, and you know, there's many reasons why you choose that. I'm great at that.
Give it to Chiara.
Yeah, or like that last shoot, like there was a time where basically the lighting van was a mess.
Yeah.
So I went to get in the van to clean it up, and I could stand up without having to break my back and hurt my neck like absolutely everyone else in the production. So I was in the van tidying up very comfortably because I could stand in it. So there's loads of pros and cons to
there's a situation for everyone.
Exactly.
As well.
Exactly.
When do you how do you work out how you want to light a scene? So like, I assume the first time you hear about a scene generally is you get the script, and I assume you get the script as both the cinematographer and the gaffer, or is when you're gaffing, is your prep through the DOP rather than through the scripts independently? Yeah,
I mean, with cinematography, obviously, like, the script comes first, and you have to read it all, and it's all about your relationship with the director as well, and how they see it. And it also, like, some directors will come to you with mood boards, and I know what I want, I know I want it to look like this, and then it's your job to kind of facilitate that. Some directors won't have an idea of how they want it to look, and that's also fine, and you can give them suggestions and they'll either say yes or no. Whereas with being a gaffer, it's less important to read the script, but I still do. But it usually comes with having a meeting with the cinematographer and them deciding, okay, I want it to look like this. How do we do this? What lights do we need to use? How can we get those? Here is the location. Where are the plugs? Where can we put the lights?
Plugs, I've heard, is a big thing in terms of, and how much power is available. I see a lot of maths going on in sort of lighting world.
Yeah.
How do you know how much power you can?
Oh, there's a formula.
House? Oh, interesting.
Yeah, so hilariously. Oh God, let me get my teaching. Oh no, I've taken away my hard drive.
Oh no! Oh yeah.
It's a formula that I have taught many times, and hilariously, I have dyscalculia, which is like dyslexia but with mathematics.
Yeah, no, I had an ex that claimed they had this.
I absolutely have
affliction. Oh, I believe it. Yeah, no, she couldn't tell. She couldn't tell the time of a 24-hour clock.
Me.
Oh, really? Okay. Yeah. There you go.
And also we find distances quite difficult to like think of. So if someone says like, "Oh, it's 20 miles away," that means nothing to me.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Which was great when I was focus pulling, by the way.
Oh my god, yeah. I did once see a focus puller. It was so impressive. They were. I mean, this is going to sound like an actual like worst nightmare for you, I think. But
probably.
Their screen had stopped working, the focus puller, so they were having to use I think they had a remote follow focus, otherwise they were literally having to turn the wheel on the camera, but they couldn't see what they were focus pulling for.
Yeah.
They couldn't see the image, so they didn't know if they were out or not. And also, they were from, I think maybe Italy or Spain, so they were used to...
a different measurement.
Different, I think they weren't using the metric system, they were using... inches, and then whereas the focus wheel was in centimeters, it was one of them was the wrong way for what they understood. So they were literally just having to look at the distance between the camera and the person that they were filming, guess the distance, and then do a conversion in their head, and then apply that to the wheel.
Nah.
It was razor sharp. I'm not even joking. The whole shot, I could not believe
Honestly,
it. It was one of the most crazy, impressive things I've ever seen.
Blows my mind.
Yeah.
When I did my course, and we were all doing our grad film, so we were basically hopping from one grad film to the other, and there were 6 of us in the cinematography course, so there were very few. So we were crewing everything, and for some reason, I think at the time, everyone made me their focus puller. And I don't know, like, I think I was good at it at the time, and I think I thought that's what I wanted to do. So I just went, like, from first AC, all these films. By the time I got to the last one, I was like, yeah, just wing it, I'll get it. And so it is kind of like riding a bike.
Yeah. Which is you need that for the indies, right? This is the irony of, like, it's not like necessarily the bigger the film, the harder it gets. If anything, you've actually got more time to get it right.
And more
so
people
unlike the
to
indies,
help you.
you've got absolutely. Whereas on the indie films, where you got less time, less money as well, and you've got to somehow do a far more trickier job than you would have to do on a bigger production,
and rubbish
because there might not be time
too.
rubbish kit. You might not have time to even do a camera rehearsal. No. You have to just record straight away and then get the focus right first time with no markings, which is crazy.
Yeah.
Do you notice a big difference when you're using sort of cheaper kit versus better kit? What do you say?
Absolutely.
You can.
Things are just so much quicker. Unfortunately, like, things are just so much quicker. And actually, from a cinematographer's perspective, I have used kind of like quite nice cheap vintage lenses, but I've often found that you get a really expensive like cook. You put it on, you're in a really gorgeous location, you look at the shot and you go, don't need to light that. That's stunning. The cook's done all the work, that's fine.
There you go.
I found the formula.
Go on.
So, I can't believe I don't remember this at the top of my head. So, it's, you calculate the wattage of all your lights, you divide that by the nominal voltage of whatever country you're in. So this country, it's 230. Don't hold me to it. I think it is.
Yeah,
230. Yeah. And then that equals how that comes out into a number, which comes out as the amps that comes out of your lights, and it has to be under whatever you're plugging it into. So your regular household plugs are 13 amp. So if you're plugging anything above that into a household plug, like a 13 amp plug, it'll blow.
Yeah.
And then you get bigger ones like the 16 amp plugs that are like the cylindrical ones, and then they go bigger and bigger. And that's it.
Okay, gotcha. So I sort of 20% understood that.
I did a really hilariously. I teach this, and I did a really bad explanation.
No. Nothing to do with your job. I think you were very clear. My brain was just trying to maintain all this sort of technical stuff. Which I mean, I do get it on principle. You're basically not trying to use more electricity than the house is going to provide, right? Yes. And this is just how you do it, because the lights are all tell you their ampage rather than their wattage. They do tell you the wattage.
Yes, so
gotcha.
The usual kind of ARRI tungsten lights, like the blue ones, the blue and grey ones that everyone uses. They have we call them by their wattage. So I'll go grab a 650. That's 650 watts. Grab a 2K, 2K watt, 2,000 watts. So and LEDs way less. So they're usually not a problem. It's the really big lamps that are heat generated and take up a lot of energy.
Absolutely. And then the other thing that has to be factored into that as well is often batteries are being charged as well for across multiple departments. Absolutely. Things are being plugged in, and that has to be factored in if you're trying to light a space as well.
Yeah, and anything that generates heat at a rapid pace takes up even more. So if kettles, the fact that kettles exist in everyday life blows my mind at how many watts they need. So always, if something goes down, it's usually a kettle or hair and makeup, because they have hair straighteners and
oh my god, I've been on set before and midway through filming a shot and everything goes dark, and it's because someone just turned the kettle on.
Yeah, it's the kettle.
That's all it took to bring the entire house lights down. So if you're ever on set and that happens to you,
kettle,
make sure it's the kettle, and then you have to flick the breaker switch to get the lights back on.
That's the RCD in the house. So we usually, what we do is, so an RCD is it stands for residual current device.
Ooh.
And it's just designed to flick, turn off any device that goes over, and with it lessens the danger of anyone getting electrocuted. So it detects a surge in electricity and immediately shuts everything off. So
gotcha.
House RCDs, that's what will happen when everything goes off. It means it's just saved your life, probably. You can get really sensitive houses that do it at the slightest surge.
Yeah,
but that's also
the older
fine.
Houses, generally speaking.
I'm not sure. Yeah, I mean, my one does.
Okay.
We turn on the cooker, it's but we are I almost never plug any of the tungsten bulge lights into a plug without putting an extra. We have little box RCDs that you put into the wall, and you can set, so if anything happens through that plug, it will just turn everything off.
Do you have any horror stories from set of things going terribly?
Honestly, no, because I'm crazy about safety and I'm very good at writing risk assessments.
Even better.
That's the really good thing about teaching, is that I had to go through a very, very rigorous kind of training, and I a certificate and stuff, a whole day of training about how to risk assess sets and things like that. And I have other people's horror stories that scare me.
Go on.
can get like horrible.
Oh no. Okay. Maybe.
Yeah, it's quite dark.
Maybe
like,
not.
It's like people die on set and they shouldn't.
Oh my god. Oh, that's horrible.
Yeah.
Oh, that wasn't that fun actually. Yeah,
No, it's not very fun.
But
but I mean, okay, if you want to do the light-hearted way, when they were training us on risk assessing things, one of the case studies was when Gemma Collins fell through the stage at an awards show, and like she sued them or something.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay, so
it's kind of how to risk assess that sort of
so you don't get sued when Gemma Collins falls through your stage floor,
because she will charge you loads of money for her hair.
Absolutely. That was a really good impression.
I love her. I'm obsessed with her. I know she's awful. I think she's so funny.
So if you got a scene, let's say the director said they really want just natural light coming through the window, and that's all they've said to you, how do you begin? Because I would say like 9 times out of 10, if you just stick a light through a window, it's not actually going to necessarily be a great shot. There might be a lot more you have to do, or like, how do you even know how many lights you need to point through the window? Like, where do you begin when you've received that little bit of direction and you're trying to work out how to translate that into beautiful images for a whole scene?
Personally, what I do is I look at references first, because it's 2024, everything has been made now. Yeah. And it's about taking what you've seen and what you like and making it your own in a way. Do you use like shot deck? I am. 1 second. Let me go get my shot deck cap. I have a shot deck hat.
No way.
Yeah,
I want one of those.
1 sec.
Go on. Holy moly. Where does one get one of these?
My friend gave it to me because she did something with shot deck, and I love shot deck so much. It's my life. I feel like they should pay me by the amount of times that I tell my students about it. Yeah, get a shot deck cap. They're cool. They're
I'm looking. There's quite a few pictures of them online, but there's not like a clear way of buying them, because it looks like something they just gave out to people. Like a friends and family thing.
Sorry, this is mine.
They were doing a sale at one point. Shot deck merch. This is very important. Would you like to explain what shot deck is to our to our listeners?
Shot deck is probably the best online directory of screenshots from films, TV. They do music videos now, commercials, everything, and it's got a really, really detailed search engine, so you can look for the types of shots. You can look for close-ups, and all the sizes of the shots. You can look for how many people, what colours there are in their shot, and then you can look up, if you really like to film, you can look up that film and they'll have all the details of who did it, who's in it, what lenses they use, what cameras they used, what the aspect ratio is, like everything. And it's all categorized, it's not, it's all people doing it, real people doing it. It was started by Lawrence Sher, who is the DP of Joker. That's his kind of like big, well-known one. And I'm a big fan of his. He's very cool. I went to a little workshop, like an online workshop that he did, and which actually my friend was hosting. She's the one that gave me the hat.
I think you need to put in an email for me, not just for YFA, but for me personally. Just say, I've got someone that needs a hat, which would be amazing. But I mean, it's so useful, isn't it? Because I mean, before Shot Deck, or before I discovered Shot Deck, if you were building a mood board together to like put together an idea of how you wanted something to look, you would have to sort of search for film stills on Google search, and it was so painful because
they were rubbish as well.
They were rubbish. You get the same image again and again. Like every shot is only on Shot Deck once, so you're not going to put a search in and get 20 of the same image.
Yeah.
And you can then see the rest of the images from that film. Like almost every frame in a movie like is on there. It's literally crazy useful. If you're a director in particular, I'd say it's like really useful as well to put together pitches, and like lookbooks and stuff like that, mood boards. But yeah, no, super useful.
Yeah.
But anyway, sorry. So you're gonna
I start
look
there.
for
Yeah.
you start there to try and find things that are similar, and then try and work out how they did it. Is that sort of the...
Yeah, exactly. So and actually, funnily enough, Shot Deck every year they do like a recreations contest.
Yeah.
So I got runner up like 2 years ago, one of them.
Congratulations.
Honestly,
wow.
like I was only happy because Greg Fraser saw my work. That was my biggest thing. I was like, oh my God, he's talking about my work. What's going on? Yeah. All the other prizes, I didn't care. That was it.
Yeah.
But so something that I do with the students a lot as well is we'll go on Shot Deck, I'll search for something, and then I'll say, okay, let's look at this. How do you think they did that? How would you do that with the resources that we have today? And it's a really good exercise, and you can draw kind of like a top-down plan. So kind of, okay, with what we have here in our classroom, how could you make this happen? And the funny thing is there's not really a right answer, because you can make this scene in so many different ways. If you have no money, you can make it. If you have tons and tons of money, you can make it. So I would just take references first, check with the director if they like them. That's one thing. I will always never move on with something until the director's like, yeah, I think that's really good. Because that's quite important. You got to please them. I say with love, I love directors. And then the next most important thing to me is the location. Obviously, you need to know what the location looks like, the layout, the color of the walls. Right, all of this stuff makes a massive difference. If they're telling you, "Oh, we need a big beam of sunlight coming through the window," and you're on the 5th floor, and you don't have the budget for a cherry picker. Like, okay, how do you want us to do this? It's about getting the location and then setting realistic expectations, knowing how much budget you have for lights, knowing what lights you have available to you, looking through the rental houses and figuring out, okay, that will probably work for that, and just going from there. And, sometimes you can't go on a recce. So a recce, for those people who don't know, is where you go to your location and you have a look at your location. And a lot of the time the recce will consist of, it will be the director, the DOP will definitely be there, and the gaffer will be there. And if I'm the gaffer, I'll talk to the DOP and we'll say, okay, we're doing this in this room. I think this will be good, if we did a light coming through that window, that would make a really good shape here if you're going to shoot in that direction. And maybe the director's like, no, I want to shoot in that direction because there's that. And I'm like, okay, now where do we put the light? Can we rig it up there? Do we need to cover all the windows? Do we need huge drapes to cover all of this? It's very practical when it gets to that point. But then after that, I just kind of figure out a base and know that it might change. But I think it's all practice. I'm finding more and more that my guesses when I'm writing it down look like how I want it to look as you go on and as you practice it more. So I think it's just about practicing and figuring out what lights give what effect. And then working it out from there and just that just comes from practice and experience, I guess, doesn't it? Yeah. And so when you start out, you often find that things don't work out how you see them in your head. And if you have time on set, you can fix them. And that's where you learn, oh, that does that. Cool. I'll remember that for next time. That kind of thing. And I'm still not there. I'm still doing things where I'm like, okay, it's not working. How do we figure this out? And that's fine.
I always remember seeing some like behind the scenes images from it might be 1917, which had
Deakins.
who was this? Deakins, yeah, the legendary Roger Deakins, and there was might have been like 20 or 60 lights, something like that, attached to this grid. That
he loves doing the grids and lifting them up. Yeah,
and suspended then above, and then they can control the lights on there. And in my head, I just remember looking at that picture, being like, "How do you know that's how many lights you needed to go on there?" I mean, once you get to Deakin's territory, I can't imagine budget's going to be an issue in terms of building one of those. But in my head, I was still trying to work out, like, when you tell production, like, we're going to need this, we're going to need this number of things here, not this number of lights, and it's going to attach to this grid. But yeah, I guess they just do it in prep. They practice it and see. But I don't know. It seemed like quite a big scale thing to. It's a weird place for your knowledge base to end up at. Like, that's how many lights we need on a huge grid.
I mean, that would be probably also led very much by the gaffer and by the technical team who are doing it and putting up. So, like, you have two different sparks as well. So you have electrical sparks and rigging sparks. So they will also bring their knowledge too. It's like I said, it's just a big team effort. Likely they would have also pre-lit. So they would have lit like maybe a week before. If you have the budget, pre-lighting's amazing. So then when you put your lights up and it's not working, you have that whole day to sort that out before any actor comes in. So with big budget stuff, it will be pre-lighting. And some people, there are like, I know now that there are previs technologies and things built where it's kind of like game development, right? Or animation, where you can just put it in digitally and see roughly how it's going to work.
Interesting. So does that work with lights as well? Yeah. Or is that for blocking? Really?
Yeah,
wow.
So you can get really good previs softwares. I do want to get one. I can't remember what it's called, but it's like £100. It's quite expensive. But it's apparently really, really good to have it, to look and see what these things are going to do and what effects the lights are going to give, if you want to look at it.
Interesting.
Technology is crazy now.
So that means obviously you can start really not just planning the lights you need, but testing the lights you think you need. So you can be even more prepped, which is good. And that's allowing you to do it cheaper technically, right? Like, even though £100 is a lot, if the production pay for that, that's cheaper than getting everyone to the location on set for a day, you know. So it sounds super useful. How much of the prep has to change on the day? Like, when you get to a location, are you often having to just completely think on your feet and change what you had to do, or do you generally get to enact it it depends on the shoot, I think, and it also depends on the type of location.
Quite a lot of the time, if you're in a studio, everything is set and everything's going to be how it is, and that's it. Whereas if you're in an external location, everything's going to change constantly and you just have to wing it. Or there are many reasons why you might have to change the direction of a shot, or I don't know. Usually, honestly, for me, it's sound. Usually it's sound, like, okay, we looked at this place in the recce, but this week now they're doing building works across the road, kind of thing.
That's the classic.
Yeah.
That's a classic.
For me, it's mostly weather, rain. We live on an island, a small island, and our clouds come and go rapidly, in and out, more than we realise. So you're ending up kind of wrestling with changing light constantly if you're shooting a scene. Yeah. And it's really hard. It's really difficult. But I remember I was gaffing on a project like ages ago, and we put up a huge, what we call a trace frame, which is a big kind of metal frame, and then you put a diffusion kind of material in the middle. And that just kind of diffuses the sun and makes it look a lot more consistent in the shot.
Yeah.
And it needed to be huge because we were shooting a wide.
Yeah,
So,
I think I've seen some of those used on like massive film. It looks like they're trying to create like massive area of artificial shade, but it's not shade, is it? It's softening the light. So that everyone's faces aren't sort of overexposed.
Yeah.
What is that? Some of the worst conditions you can sort of deal with bright sunlight. Like what are the challenges that you face, and do they differ from a lighting perspective versus cinematography versus photography? Would you say?
No, I think they're the same problems in photography and cinematography. Though I think with stills you can be a bit more flexible as to where you place your subject, because like you can kind of work around that. But when you're moving and when everything around you is moving, and then if you're shooting a scene, you have to stay consistent with where you're shooting it and where your characters are. So you have a little less flexibility with that. But we will still use diffusion frames and stills. Like it's all pretty much the same. It's just you can cheat a little bit more, I think, with stills.
Yeah.
But yeah, direct sunlight's hard. It's literally. So
it's hard light.
It is hard light. Direct sunlight is very difficult. I'm a big fan of backlight. It's just. So I like to put.
Me too.
Yeah, I like to put the sun behind the actor, not only because I love backlight, but also because I like I like our actors to be able to see.
Yeah.
And not squint in camera.
I saw a video of someone doing it was a scene on a beach, and the camera kept rotating round these actors, and every time it sort of cut round as well, even though the camera was moving, it was cutting. The sun was behind everyone, and you just can't tell the fact that technically there are about 12 sun positions in this one scene. No one cares because everyone's looking at the actors' faces.
Yeah.
And it's just about sort of, it looks better.
Yeah.
I know some people
would be
are more
bothered by
reluctant
that.
certain cinematographers would just want to make each shot look brilliant, and others are really sort of insistent on making the whole make sense. Where do you sit on that? And also, I wondered if you had any tips or techniques for sort of young filmmakers of things that they can do that maybe make your shots look really expensive, but maybe don't cost very much to do.
Ooh. I think I'm very much in the middle. So when I was studying film music, actually, I came across the suspension of disbelief, which is the phrase of like, when you go to the cinema and you see a film, you accept that there's going to be music here that doesn't exist in the world, or you accept that you're going to be seeing superheroes who are going to do some crazy stuff, right?
Yeah.
But as long as
everyone is artificially attractive.
Oh, of course, yeah. So as long everyone has like no pores and they all look great, and so you sit down and you accept that before you even, and without realizing, before you even watch it. So there is an element of suspension of disbelief there, but there are times where it can be very distracting. So you have to kind of toe the line between how many people is this going to bother, right?
Yeah.
Like, how distracting is it going to be for the story? Because essentially you're just serving the story, right? So you can, I think I would do things that aren't quote unquote realistic if it helps the story more, or if it helps the characters more. But if it's kind of a vanity thing for me, I try and avoid that as much as possible. So you kind of just have to toe the line a bit. And I think if it bothers the director, you can't do it. And so I like to leave the last final word to the director, so I wipe my hands off it and I go, well, the director said it's their vision.
Do you have any techniques or things that you'd recommend people try with their films when they're filming that might elevate the standard?
I always say to my students, one, I think a nice smooth track looks really expensive.
Yeah.
No matter how cheap you made it, it looks expensive. Mm-hmm. When you start to make everything handheld, it starts to look like a student film. No one can afford dollies.
Absolutely.
And of course, do handheld. I've done handheld, obviously. Like, do it when it's right. Mm-hmm. Don't do everything handheld. You can use a tripod. They do exist. So a nice smooth track, even if you actually have it like a gimbal, nice smooth gimbal move. I know, for me, it's something very expensive about that. I love like a good location. If you can sweet talk yourself into a good location, they are good. One thing I'm really known in the school, and it's just become a joke now, is I just love lamps.
Me too.
Yeah,
Me too. I do a lot of horror films, so they're your best friend, because then you can light your nighttime scenes, and everyone's underlit as well.
Oh, they're gorgeous. They're nice and warm, so you have that nice tungsten feel. They're cheap. Yeah. They're realistic. You shove a lamp in the background out of focus.
Yeah.
Money. A backlight. It's
100%.
just there's something. So I quite like to do like one film light and a lamp.
Yeah,
and like it's cheap, and if you frame it right. Another thing, actually, now that I think of it, please, like, I tell my students, like, just stop shooting against walls.
Yes.
As soon as,
God, especially white walls as well.
Oh my god, they're the worst. I'm the biggest enemy. I will fight every white wall I see, which is here. It's just flat walls, whatever colour, are everyone's enemy, because no matter how long your lens is, no matter how much you try and get that depth, you're just not going to get it. And it's just, don't shove that sofa against the wall, please. Mm-hmm. Bring it out. Is there a window here that we can shoot against? Okay, here's some depth, something interesting. Yeah. Pop a lamp in the background, a plant, I don't care.
Yeah, just do not stand two actors flat against a white wall and point the camera directly at it.
And then you have like the problem with shadows as well on top of that. And then you just add more problems. 2 lights, oh no, 2 shadows, now it looks weird. So it's kind of like, I think, those are the things. No walls. No plain flat wall. Lamps.
Yeah.
Also, and also, like, figure out your style. Don't be afraid of colour.
Yeah.
As well.
I like that. How do you find your style? And do you feel comfortable? Do you say to the director, if we just pulled the actors slightly further away from the wall, it'll look better?
I always. Always.
Tell them that. I'm
like, please no. Please don't put it over there. Can we get it over here? There's actually, a short I did, and I'm very lucky because I have a director that I met when I was studying, who is like one of my best friends now. We can basically communicate without talking. We like in real life we're the complete opposites. Like she loves like the pop girlies and dresses in like pink and colour, and I listen to metal and dress in black. But when we get together and do film, for some reason we just have the same ideas every time.
Yeah.
And I did a short with her, and there was a scene in it that they were in the kitchen, and she wasn't the writer. We did have writers, and we were at our location, and we worked out how to shoot this thing in this location in the best, most beautiful way possible. And then we got to this scene, and we looked at the kitchen, and we were like, I don't think I can make this work. And so we came outside, and it's a flat with, it's kind of like estate flats with like the little balcony outside where you go into the flats. Yeah. And I was like, it would look really great out here. Like the scene would look really good out here. So she was like, I'm making an executive decision as director. We're going to move it out here, because nothing in the scene indicated that it was important to be in the kitchen. Yeah. The only indication in the script is that our main character, he was drinking tea, right? So I was like, why doesn't he just go out in the morning, drink a cup of tea as he's looking out. And I think personally it enhanced the narrative a bit more, because the way that the story worked, he wanted to leave this place, really. Like, he's kind of stuck. It's like his prison.
Yeah.
So I felt like, oh, he's looking out there and he sees where he can't go, right?
Yeah.
And visually we can do that, and I can shoot, you know, static detail shots of outside and the cars going by and the trees and everything, and then we cut to him staring out there, and one, it looks really lovely, but also, you know, we could sell it to the writers in that way, and it ended up working out really well, and it all started with just us not liking the kitchen.
I love that. Are you thinking often about sort of the shots, like how to visually illustrate the story versus just making the shot by shot look good? Does that make sense as a question?
Yeah, I think they come hand in hand. I think it will just happen. If something, it's really weird. If something feels right, then it probably is. If something feels wrong to you, then it's probably wrong. Like, and don't force something just because you feel like you have to do it. If you frame up a shot and you're looking at it and you don't like it, say, because you'll never like it.
Sure.
And usually I find that when you go to locations, you get inspiration from that. So when you go on a recce to a location, I'm constantly taking photos. There's an app called Artemis. I don't know if you've heard of Artemis. Yeah. And it shows you what the frame will look like with the size of the lenses that you choose. So we're constantly on Artemis, like, taking reference pictures. Like, oh, I really like this window here. What if we framed the actor here? And it would look good here. And then it just, you know, it happens because you've read the script and you know what you want to convey. As long as the script is your center, I think it's whatever feels right. I think it'll happen.
Yeah. Our last two questions that we ask all our guests are, what were you up to during your teenage years that helps you or benefits what you do now? And what advice would you give to that teenage self of yours?
For me, in my teenage years, I was a little emo kid going out with my friends taking photos of each other. Luckily I did grow up in London, but like in West London, kind of the outskirts, and we have a lot of lovely nature, a lot of nice parks, and my best friend is a horse person.
Very nice.
Yeah, so we would go out and just take pictures of nature and horses and each other.
Oh, lovely.
And I just spent like a lot of my teenage years spare time just like snapping photos and also writing music. And I think that all comes hand in hand, really. I was just like a nerd. I just wanted to make stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just wanted to make stuff, and it would be really uncool stuff. But I think that leads on to the advice in that even if it's uncool, cringe is dead. Cringe is dead. Just if you're like draw what you want. You don't have to show anyone if you don't want to, but like draw what you want, get all of that out, because I think you also need to get the rubbish out as well to get the good stuff out. Like, it's okay to make something that's rubbish. And working as a tutor, knowing that and passing that on, because I hate my grad film now. I don't hate it, but like there's so much I would do differently now. I know what I know. So it's okay to make stuff that you think isn't good. Just move on and keep going, because you'll learn loads from it. So I think just embrace the cringe a bit. I think we're too scared of being cringe.
I think we should put that on t-shirts. Embrace the cringe.
Yeah, just embrace the cringe. Like, make stuff just because you're passionate about it and because you enjoy it, and people will see your passion, and you can only get better the more you do it. So don't be afraid to make stuff, I think, and put it out there. I know it's really scary, but
Yeah.
there will be someone who likes it. You know, there will be someone who will enjoy it. So
I love that.
Yeah, I think that's that.
Chiara, thank you so much for your time. It's been really wonderful.
It's all right. Thank you.
And very helpful for our listeners. So thanks to you.
Thank
for
you
sharing
very
your knowledge
much.
and wisdom. That was great. Chiara, I think, is such a fun energy in the sort of camera department.
She's brilliant.
I know you've met her before.
So I did a course with Chiara in the summer. She gave me my introduction to camera and lighting, and as someone who finds that kind of thing a little bit intimidating, getting like hands-on with the camera, she made it so fun and really conquered that fear for me, and she's just a great energy.
Very nice. Were you sort of going over like framing and stuff, or was it like lighting as well? What sort of things was she?
It was a bit of both. It was sort of a breakdown of how to use a camera, how to set up a camera.
Nice.
And then using lighting with like LED panels, or like sort of more classic, the lights that are on a stand.
Yes,
and playing with the foils that go over it and stuff.
Nice. Very cool. So was that like three? Because I know there's like 3-point lighting where you have like a main light, a backlight.
Yes.
Was it that sort of stuff?
We did all of that. And one thing I loved about Chiara was that she was such a lamp enthusiast. She had a deep fear of the main light, as I do as well, the big light. And she was like, if you're doing like your first productions, lamps are your friend. Get as many lamps in there as you can. And and that will make a really nice, warm, natural environment.
Which, now that we've said that, I implore the sort of audience to, now when they watch movies, just try and see how many lamps are on in the backgrounds of shots. You'd be surprised, like even ones that make no sense, like did someone really go around and turn these all on in the world of the film? And the answer is probably not, but on camera it looks so good. It's absolutely worth doing. And just makes it's such better imagery than just sort of a flat top light. Having these sort of like warm pops around the room. And lamps give you, because they're never too...
Every light is there for a reason.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's using real things to create light sources, and you can create really nice warm contrast to some maybe cold light that's coming through the window. So it always works really nicely to do that. Good for horror films as well, is my 2 cents, coming from that world.
Yes.
So if you're doing like a moody evening scene, you want to have like no main big light, you want to have just lamps, and then it's all very moody and somber and stuff. It's quite cool, quite nice.
And also thinking about color and how you can use kind of 2 shades of light against each other to create a new color. So you have a warm light, but then if you have like a green backlight coming from somewhere else, which you can't actually see a green lamp on in the shot, but it allows you to play more with what color or hue you want your scene to be shot in.
And the other thing as well that I really liked what Chiara was saying was just talking about her being a lighting focused cinematographer, and just how that's a reminder that you don't have to fit in a particular box. You can find your own way of doing things and your own speciality in any given field. Some cinematographers are big camera people,
definitely.
but others are big lighting people. And you can be, and you don't even have to be that tall. As Chiara mentioned.
But she did. I remember she said to me when she was my teacher about having good upper body strength. To hold cameras and stuff is very important.
It definitely helps,
which I don't have any of.
Were you straight down to press ups after that to get ready?
I was like, let's get on the pull-ups.
Trying to sort out the what's it called? Cinematography
I think that's true. I think that's such an important point for a lot of, or so many roles in filmmaking, is that you can be a certain type of that role. So you might be a director that is almost governed by like the camera, or governed more by like writing, or more by like getting down with the actors. And then you can also, when being a writer or like a script editor or something, you can be more connected to the writing side, or you can be more connected to the production side of things. So it's nice that you can tailor roles to what you're good at.
100%.
And what excites you.
I completely agree with applying this to like directing as well, because there are some directors, as you're saying, that are just big actor people. They just really want to just be working with the actors as much as possible, and just working on those performances, working on the blocking and stuff. And then there are directors, you know, like Zack Snyder sort of comes to mind as being a very visual director. So he's really interested in the cinematography and the visuals that he's creating. So that's where his speciality comes in. And it's, if anything, it makes you more interesting if you do have some kind of like specialization and something that's clearly your sort of focus. So definitely when you work out what that is, like absolutely lean into it. It's my thoughts.
There's no rule book.
There is not.
Well, there probably is a little one, but
yeah, no, actually, no.
Immediately backtrack.
There's probably definitely a few. Yeah, you gotta turn the camera on for one.
Yeah.
But we do have a question. This is from. Let me just load it up here. This is from Marianne. Marianne wants to know, I want to learn to light my scenes better. Do you have any lights that you would recommend buying, or tricks to make a scene look really good? Ooh, I feel like we've already sort of touched on this actually quite a bit. You had some great suggestions with sort of like contrasting colours, so choosing things from opposite ends of the colour wheel. Like what other examples of that? You got like purple and green, is that one? Blue and orange you see all the time on movie posters. And it's sort of it's more of like a teal and orange actually, isn't it? And then you got like the deep blue and red is the other one.
Yeah. So I think sort of experimenting with different colours and using them to your advantage. And also you mentioned the three-point lighting. Is that the term? That is a real sort of basic of lighting. So even if just giving that a Google, and you'll be able to sort of understand how that is set up. But it's basically the basics to getting a really nicely lit shot. Absolutely, and that's it's your key light, your backlight, and your fill. So your key light, generally an actor, you always want lit from one side primarily or the other, because otherwise it just feels very flat. So that's always your key light. The backlight just to create some sort of fringe, some kind of light coming from behind them, and then the fill is basically just making sure that the other side of their face isn't pitch black. And that's the principle. And literally, you would not believe that is the main way that things are lit in every single shot. And then you get onto more advanced stuff of making sure that your scene itself is sort of lit in an interesting way, or maybe shadows are casting across certain things so that things aren't flat and all one block of one color. You want to break things up as much as possible. And in terms of buying lights, we use aperture lights, which are really good. Which I think there are some on the sort of the more affordable end of the spectrum, but getting something that's a full LED, so you can control the color, is what I would recommend, and then you can really have fun and play with things. But don't necessarily go wacky for the sake of it. Like, do look at existing films and try and match what they're doing. Is always a good first step, maybe. And you can definitely buy those LED panels that are connected up to an app on your phone, and you can control it like remotely, or you don't need to be right next to it. You can do it from your phone and like set up programs for it to follow, which sounds quite complicated, but I've managed to do it. And
are you just I feel sad. I feel like you've used yourself as idiot corner there to like be like, look, if I can
I think I do have I think I do have some imposter syndrome in the lighting camera department, which I should definitely
sure, okay, I see what you're saying.
I should definitely get rid of.
Absolutely, you know what you're talking about.
Yeah. There was something else I was going to say. Yeah, again, lamps. That can just like transform a shot.
Yeah.
As
I say in Anchorman,
gonna die on the lamp hill.
I love lamps. as I say in Anchorman. So.
Yeah. I think that's a great place to
leave it.
To round up. I love lamp.
Thank you so much for listening, guys. It's been a really lovely episode. Thank you very much for joining me for this ending this episode, Ellen. I had a lovely time.
My pleasure.
Thank you to Chiara as well. We'll see you guys in the next episode, and don't forget to send your questions to podcast@filmacademy.
Yeah.
Bye.